My name's Rebecca Wing, and I'm talking to you from Saco, Maine, where it is very beautiful and warm and sunny and a lovely, lovely, lovely day here. So good to be with you. My name is Rebecca Wing, and I'm a therapist specializing in mindfulness and meditation. And my work involves helping people with anxiety and depression, as well as teaching meditation and mindfulness practice. And I'm happy to be with you with Mind the Moment this morning, so we can do a little sitting together. So good to be with you. So the question I wanted to kind of present this morning before we sit has to do with breath, actually, breathing. As most of you know, meditation is all about the breath, and there's certainly a big aspect of being able to follow the breath. And oftentimes we don't really talk about how that sometimes can be a challenge, depending on our state of mind, our physical state as well. And I want you to think a little bit about when the breath is difficult, when the sense of breathing is less than natural or feels uncomfortable in some way or other. And if you really think about that state where the mind and the emotions are in some very particular agitated or depressed or distracted state during the day, as well as, of course, in meditation, think about how the breath is affected. So for some people, it is a felt sense. For others, it's more of a feeling of not being able to get enough air in or out. So think about it for a second. And if you want to type in what you notice, what is the feeling or the accompanying emotional state that comes up for me around my breath when it's less than comfortable. So I'll give you an example while you're thinking about it for yourself this morning. I work with a lot of folks who talk about the fact that they feel like they hold their breath a lot, that they don't notice that they do, and they tend to be sort of disconnected from that in and out experience. And so oftentimes we talk about, where is it, or when is it, I should say, that we really hold our breath. And I've had more than one student say to me that they notice that they hold their breath when they're looking at their email inbox. Sort of this, oh, good, what's on? What am I going to deal with now? Right? Is this quality of sort of being uncomfortable and anticipation. I have had other clients that I work with who are exercisers and work at the gym, and they frequently say that they hold their breath when they're lifting weights and don't notice it until a trainer says something to them about that. Yes, and Angelina, yeah, sometimes before I fall asleep at night, I get anxious and can't catch your breath. Absolutely. Isn't it amazing? Like we're rerunning the day or we're anticipating tomorrow, and the breath just starts to kind of feel restricted, as if we can't get that full quality breath in or out. Yeah. Another form of breathing is called hovering, where we kind of breathe in and out, but it's kind of shallow. And this is a very common state that we get into when we're really concentrating on something, attending to a task. And so the breath isn't really a quality breath. We're still breathing, but it is not in the sense a full inhalation and exhalation, which can oftentimes lead to fatigue, yawning, because we're not getting the oxygen that we need. So these states are not out of the ordinary. For some of us, we've had tightness in the chest, a good part of our life when we get anxious. And so there's a restriction in the chest or in the throat where it feels as if we're unable to take a quality breath. So today in our meditation, what we're going to do is something a little bit different. we're going to be talking about the lengthened exhale. And the reason we're going to be exploring that lengthening of exhale is that this quality of breathing has a lot to do with preparing for a deeper in-breath. In other words, there's no way to take a deep breath in if you haven't expelled all the old carbon dioxide that's in your breath out. And that then allows the quality in breath to happen on its own, because the nature of the lungs, in a sense, are then emptied, and so then can receive this fuller breath. So I'm going to introduce a form of meditation that will sort of give you a sense of what we're talking about in terms of getting to that lengthened exhale. I'll walk you through it, guide you through it as we go. So as you find your posture this morning for meditation, you really want to pay attention to how upright you are. The reason for that is because that helps open up and expand the breathing apparatus in the front of the body, as well as the back, actually. The lungs are actually much lower down than you would imagine. They're in a sense, on the sides as well as the back of your body. Some people think of their lungs as being here, but the primary area of the lungs are in the mid region. So we'll be sitting as high or as long as lifted as we can without feeling like you're straining. You want to make sure that you're relaxed and upright. Definitely keep both feet flat on the floor if you can, or if you're sitting in a meditation cushion, that's fine too. So as you drop into your posture, allowing the eyes to softly close, and just take a moment to see if you can drop into the sensation of the body sitting in the chair. So feel the cushion of the chair beneath you, the base of your body connected to the seat. And sense your spine lifting gracefully up out of the pelvis. Shoulders aligned over the center line of the body. And see if you can encourage the ears to align over the shoulders so that your head isn't falling forward or backwards. Upright and at ease. Take a moment to notice the interior realm of the body. What am I feeling this morning inside? Am I a little buzzy? A little tired? Is there achiness? Am I feeling neutral? Open? We bring that gentle curiosity, simply attending to all sensations with gentle awareness in this moment within the body. Next, we tap into the breath. Notice where it's the most prominent and allow that to initially be your point of focus. Wherever the rise and fall of breath is, attend to that. We're going to explore dropping into a longer exhale. This requires a sense of letting go more deeply as you exhale. It doesn't have to take a lot of effort. It's more of a sense of simply elongating the exhale longer than you normally would, and then let the in-breath happen by itself. You may find that you can slow down the exhale a bit to lengthen it. As you do so, you may find that there are times when the breath takes a deeper inhale. Totally fine. Let the body do what it does on the inhale and simply focus on dropping into a longer exhalation. It's up to you whether the exhale happens through the nose or the mouth. If you are breathing out through the mouth, you might want to make the opening a little small, as if you're exhaling through a straw. This can encourage the lengthened exhale because it slows it down. And notice the quality of the inhale, whatever it does on its own. It has its own intelligence. Next, we're going to see if we can rest at the bottom of the exhale. This could be for simply a moment. It is a holding out at the bottom of the exhale, just for a few moments before you inhale again. Only do what's comfortable, no striving here. And when you get to the bottom of the exhale and pause, drop into the space of no thought at the bottom of that exhale before you inhale again. Rest in the gap between thoughts in those moments of the held exhale at the bottom. If you feel restricted, let the breath find its own rhythm. And once you've gone to more of a homeostasis, try again. Lengthened exhale, resting at the bottom of the exhale in silence before breathing in again. In that gap at the bottom of the exhale lies silence of mind. See if you can attend to that stillness, even if it's just a moment of no thought. Check your posture. Sometimes the head tilts up. Make sure that your chin is level with the floor so that you're not creating tension in the front of the throat or chest. As we move towards the end of the practice, drop the form of it, no longer trying to work with the breath, and allow yourself to rest with an awareness of the body as it sits. Not doing much of anything now, just holding awareness of the body and resting. As we end the practice, take your time. Sometimes it can be helpful to draw a deeper breath in, maybe a little stretch as we end the meditation. So that practice is called dropping into the gap. Be gentle with yourself this morning if it felt a little challenging. It takes some practice. Oftentimes, when we drop into that lengthened exhale, people can feel a little bit like they can't hold it out for very long. And then that creates sort of a state of agitation or expectation. So that ability to sort of drop into that very short pause at the bottom of the exhale takes practice. So no worries if it was challenging today. Think of it as a thing that you can do throughout your day. I'm glad that you're found it was helpful, everybody. This ability to self-regulate in the midst of a busy life and during our meditation has a lot to do with that breath release. You know, it's interesting. I work with folks who have anxiety disorders, and they always say that when they're having an anxiety or a panic attack or an anxiety episode, people just say, just take a deep breath in. The problem with that is that when you're in an anxious state, it's very difficult to actually take a deep breath in. And that's why if you experiment and you have challenges with that kind of constricted inhale, focus on that long exhale. Don't worry about the inhale at all, because when you get to the bottom of that exhale, the inhale takes care of itself. And that allows us over time throughout the course of a day. I mean, when I'm having a really challenging day, I will definitely drop into the exhale before I open the next email, or before I make the phone call, or before I join the next meeting, because this allows the nervous system to settle. Just a moment of that exhale and dropping into it. Oftentimes that exhale through the pursed lips, like through a straw, that kind of breathing is a little more deliberate because you do have to push a little harder. But even then, it allows you to sort of almost hear the quality of the exhale and a sense of slowing it down as you breathe out. I think, frankly, as a culture, we here in America tend to strive on moving very quickly. And the problem with moving quickly from one thing to the next is it does agitate the nervous system. It really creates more of the sympathetic nervous system, which is where we feel elevated. And you know, what's very interesting about the science of breath, when you breathe in, your sympathetic nervous system, which is the elevating part of your nervous system, is engaged on the in-breath. On the exhale, there's a moment of the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the settling energy of the nervous system, kicks in as you breathe out. So each time you breathe, there's a little elevation of the nervous system on the in-breath and a little de-escalation of the nervous system on the out-breath. And so that's why that elongated exhale can really help throughout the day of settling that nervous system, so that we're in a sense having a little more agency over our body, because, you know, sometimes we feel like we're not even in our body. So we're trying to bring that mindful awareness to attending to actively engaging, slowing down the nervous system just for a moment, right? Not even like a second or two. And so in the meditation practice, at the bottom of that exhale, we're inviting the mind to rest there before the inhale begins. And that gives us a moment of clarity of, breathing out slowly, no thought. Inhale. And then the mind might think, breathing out slowly, resting in no thought. And that allows us to get more familiar with the state of the absence of a quiet mind. Now, the thing that's always tempting is we like to think that, well, then we should be able to have no thought during the entire breath. Well, you can start to experiment with that. Okay, so I do a long exhale and I drop and I'm silent in the mind. Maintain the silence. And it's amazing when you start to explore this, it's not really about seeing how long you can go without thought. It's more about just familiarizing yourself with a state of no thought consciously while engaged with the breath. So all of these qualities, I hope over time, you can kind of remind yourself, drop into the gap. Every thought has a beginning and an end, right? And then there's a beginning of the thought, and then there's an end of a thought. And then before the next thought, there's a gap. And in that gap lies the silence. And so that ability to familiarize oneself with that silence at the bottom of that exhale will give you the key towards learning how to let go for a moment. Enough for now. I'm not going to think about that anymore. Enough. And that ability to have a relationship with the thinking mind through conscious awareness gives you that choice. Just this morning, I had so many things going on at the same time. Ended up burning my breakfast because I had way too many things that I was doing simultaneously. And when I smelled the burning rice, I realized, okay, enough. And I decided in that moment to slow down, drop into the exhale for a moment, look up at the birds out in the feeder out my window, and just pause because I was going too fast and there were just too many things happening at the same time. So I did manage to rescue the rice, however, so all is well in that area. So I hope that for yourself, you can be thinking about if the breathing was difficult for you, explore the ability to just simply relax on the exhale. Sometimes making it longer is a little bit too much. So really a lot of this is, again, can I just let go on the exhale? Can I just really attend to letting go, even if it's not long or slow? Is it possible? And you can even experiment with a little sigh, just letting, right? That quality of releasing. Again, it still activates that nervous system to slow down, to settle a little bit. My family was an expert. I have 5 sisters, and we throughout the whole day together in the house, you'd hear one or the other of us sighing. It's almost as if we cultivated this ability to self-regulate because we also had 2 brothers. There were 8 of us, so it was a very, very, very active household. But that ability to drop into a sigh or drop into an exhale is really something over time that will give you some liberation from busy, anxious energy, quick, fast moving, which eventually becomes exhausting, overwhelming sometimes. Yeah. And so those little moments, those little windows of time throughout the day or during your meditation practice, where you're dropping into that gap and stillness, can bring you a quality of agency over your own body and your own mind. I hope this was helpful to you all today. I'm glad to hear some of you found it very useful. Again, my name is Rebecca Wing. This is Mind the Moment. Join us every Tuesday. We're happy to be with you. And may your day go well. Bye-bye, everybody.